Right then. So we are live now. Hi, Arun, and welcome to the Author Talk Show. How are you?
Good evening, Nitin. Always a pleasure to talk to you. And I'm so happy and excited that we are doing this topic today. So you are so full of energy, so full of ideas. So thank you once again for inviting me on this show.
Super. So thank you so very much. I just ensured that my audio it should not come to me and to you yourself. Thank you very much, Arun. Same. I mean, it's always a pleasure. We have known each other for quite a few years now, right?
Yeah,
And I still remember the time when we met until date. I think my look has changed a lot, but man, you are still the same.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. So, Arun, I know about you and your vast experience and a lot of, I mean, the stuff that you have achieved in your life and the kind of work that you are doing for quite a few years now. Magar, a lot of people who may be watching us right now and will watch us later once this video goes to YouTube on a recorded format. तो अरुण मैं जानना चाहता हूं और ऑडियंस जानना चाहती है समथिंग अबाउट योरसेल्फ तो क्या आप कुछ समय लेकर के if you could tell us about your experience about your background so that we get to know you better.
All right. Thank you, Nitin. So let me give a brief background. I have a corporate experience of more than 25 years, wherein I have worked in organizations like HCL, L&T, Ericsson, and Bharti Airtel. In Bharti Airtel, I was chief operating officer for one of their units, and I was managing a revenue of almost 1,000 crore plus and almost 100 plus people in my team. I handled there some international operations as well. And for the last 8 years plus, I've been an entrepreneur. I have launched various businesses. Some of them have done very, very well, and some of them couldn't do as well. But it's been a mixed bag, but the learning in each of these ventures has been priceless. I'm a certified life and career coach as well. I'm a certified trainer by Jack Canfield. And I also am a motivational speaker. And finally, I believe in spiritual side as well. I practice Buddhism. So this is in a nutshell about me. I am married with 2 kids.
Multiple facets of to your personality, Arun. Bahut kuch. I mean, you have been into corporates, you have been into entrepreneurship, you are a life coach, law of attraction, and I mean, and of course, as you said, you've been married. So managing a lot of areas in your life.
Yes, that's the beauty of life. You know, it's like you have so many balls to juggle with. So your work definitely is one of those key balls. Your relationship, your family is the second one. The third is your health and fitness. The fourth is on the financial side. The fifth, which is very important and not many people know about, is your personal growth. How you handle your own growth, how you invest in yourself. That is very important. And another key area is how you contribute to the society, because many people just live for themselves, but people remember you for what you have done for others, not what you have done for yourself.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And here we are doing a little bit of the stuff for people who may be interested in entrepreneurship. So, absolutely. Yeah. So Arun, with your permission, I want to go deep into your entrepreneurship experience. और मैं वहां से निकाल के लाना चाहता हूँ कुछ ऐसी चीजें जो लोग सुने और देखें. So I mean, I want people to go back and again and again and see this interaction so that they get something out of it, right? तो Arun, आपने एक बड़ी interesting बात कही. आपने कहा you started some ventures. कुछ बहुत अच्छा हुए, अच्छा किया उन्होंने, कुछ ने अच्छा नहीं किया. तो इसका मतलब Arun, I'm sure it's not just dependent on the person, right? It's not just dependent on the entrepreneur. इसका मतलब बहुत सारे angles हैं entrepreneurship के भी जो we have to get them right. I mean, do you want to make a point on this?
Absolutely, Nitin. I think entrepreneurship is definitely a mix of many things. You know, most of the people think if they have a brilliant idea, then they can become an entrepreneur. You know, that is definitely not the right way to look at entrepreneurship. Idea is definitely the key. What kind of product and service you would like to give to others definitely makes sense. But there's so many things which you need to look into, because what kind of, whatever idea or product service you are going to give, is it just for making money, or is there some benefit for the society that you're trying to do? unless there's a bigger cause, bigger benefit for the people at large, only then your idea has the right kind of objective to be launched. Then comes what kind of experience do you have? Do you have only a technical experience? Do you have only marketing experience? Do you have only financial experience? So that again, if you are alone, I don't think you can do justice to all the facets of an entrepreneurship. The next is funding. Many people struggle with funds, even if you have a brilliant idea, but unless somebody is willing to put their own hard earned money or investment into your venture, only then that idea is worth it, marketable, scalable. So that is again not many people who think about it. And finally, how you market your product, how you bring your products or service to others, that plays a huge role nowadays with social media. There are so many avenues how you can reach out with your product and service to so many people. So that again is key. And mentor or a coach, I cannot emphasize the importance of having the right mentor and coach, because there has to be somebody who has to be able to tell you what you're doing right, what you're not doing right, what are the things that you need to improve. So there has to be someone who can hold you accountable, who can guide you. And not many people think about all these things when they want to launch a venture.
I think I completely agree with you. I think within a very short amount of time, you have really highlighted a lot of key areas, and specifically, and I really did not have that on my list, to be honest, the mentorship, right? Because it is so much important. Or Arun, I can tell you from my experience being an entrepreneur, having the right mentor with you is extremely critical, because kai baar aisa hota hai that you feel low, and sometimes you yourself do not have the kind of vision that you need for your business, and there a mentor comes in, and that mentor actually helps you. So Arun, मैं आपसे again, I want to start in the reverse order now, because mentorship is so important. ये क्यों important है यार? Why somebody who is into entrepreneurship या entrepreneurship में जाना चाहता है, startup खड़ा करना चाहता है, वो सबसे पहले सोचता है कि मैं टीम के बारे में सोचूं, वो ये जरूर सोचता है कि मैं कोई लीगल टीम के बारे में सोचूं, एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट के बारे में सोचूं, लेकिन एक मेंटर के बारे में बाय डिफॉल्ट उसके दिमाग में नहीं आता. आई नो अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल इनटू स्टार्टअप्स, एक मेंटरशिप का एंगल मिसिंग है, एंड प्रोबेबली दे रियलाइज इट व्हेन दे आर लाइक 5 to 10 years in that business. So I want to know from you a little bit more on mentorship, please.
Okay. From my experience, Nitin, what I have realized is that an entrepreneur is so much in love with his or her own idea that they fail to look at all the pitfalls, all the nuances that they need to take care of. So there has to be somebody who can show you the mirror, who can tell you what you're doing well, where you need to improve, what you need to consider. And that is the job of a mentor or coach. And another thing is, a mentor or a coach can actually help you to scale the idea in a much bigger fashion than what you could possibly on your own. Because who will you choose as a mentor or a coach? A person who's got experience, who's got credibility, who's got a reputation. So these people already have a lot of experience in terms of different ventures, how to scale them up. So having someone who can really guide you in your journey of entrepreneurship is priceless to my mind.
And where do one go to find such a mentor, Arun? I mean, I'm sure, I remember you have written a book, The Extraordinary Entrepreneur, and you have actually highlighted the importance of having a mentor in your life. Lekin aaj ki taarikh mein, if somebody has to go out, find a mentor in entrepreneurship, where would the platform that you would recommend?
So I will not specifically mention a platform, but in terms of, like we said, the social media age, there's no dearth of spreading your message if you want to become an entrepreneur and you want to find a mentor. So you can easily write down that you're looking for a mentor in platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. You can easily approach your bosses who you have worked with in the past. You can easily approach some people who are influential. You can go to networking events. There are so many experts who come and speak out to people at large. So you can approach them and say, this is an idea I have and I would like you to be my mentor. So there are so many people who want to help out, and they will be happy to give some of their time. Some may want to do it for consideration in terms of some equity or whatever. Some may want to do it pro bono. So it all depends. But finding the right kind of mentor in today's age and time, I don't think is a tough ask.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But Arun, there is another thing. I discuss this thing with a lot of people. And one thing that comes up a lot of times is, Sir, mera idea chori ho gaya to. I want you to comment on this.
Again, mentor is normally a person, like I said, who's got reputation. They are known in the industry for their integrity, for their, kind of work they have done. So they get ideas dime a dozen. If you ask any venture capitalist, they are flooded with ideas every single day, hundreds of ideas, and they don't even, acknowledge 90% of those ideas. So idea is not the key. That is another fallacy many people have,
True.
My idea.
Yeah.
Idea is just one part of it. Like I said, execution is the key. How you actually implement that project, how you take this project out to the people, that is critical. There's so many ideas in the similar line, even if you say whether it's food delivery venture or it's healthcare or whatever, there are hundreds of people with similar ideas. But why only few succeed? Because they have the right ingredients to make the venture successful. It's not just the idea alone.
Arun, at what point should somebody tell himself that this idea is not working? Let me quit this. I'm sure you have, as you rightly mentioned earlier, you have worked in, you've started a lot of businesses. Some of them work, some of them could not. At what point do you realize कि बस यार, this won't work? अब इसमें और जान लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है, capital energy लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है. This won't work. At what point? There's something that you can tell us on this.
Yeah, again, great question, but I'm not sure if there's a simple answer to this, Nitin. The reason is very simple, because even entrepreneurs like Richard Branson, they have been on the verge of winding up their business, and when something happened and they again revived. So at what point is tough call, because depends on how much are you bleeding, how much can you sustain, what kind of feedbacks you're getting from your clients, from your ecosystem partners. So there's so many things. If people in general, your stakeholders, which is your clients, which is your team members, which could be your investors, if they feel this idea has potential, then there's no reason to quit, unless, like I said, you're bleeding big time, you can't sustain. So try and go after it. Like I said, if all the feedback that you're getting is very positive, then you need to pursue. But if some of the people who are connected with your idea feel that this is not something great, this is not unique, this is not something to pursue, there are so many other brands or products which are in similar area, then I think if you can cut down your losses, the earlier you realize, the better it is. So it depends on what exactly is your idea, product or service, how unique it is. If it's unique, then persistence as much as possible is the key. But in case it's not unique, it's a Me Too thing, and you're doing it just to make money, then better to call it quits earlier than later.
I think you rightly answered that, and I can resonate with your answer there. Arun, I have another question for you.
Yes, please.
Is it important to have experience in that field in which you want to get started, as in you want to start a business in? Is it important to have experience of working in a job and understanding it inside out? Or is it just that you have an idea, you're excited about it, and you can hire a few people who have experience and you can get started with it? What is the better route for an entrepreneur? Because you have tremendous experience behind you. And then I know you came into entrepreneurship. Kya difference hai aur kitna important hai ye?
Yeah. So again, a very nice question, Nitin. And many people think about it. What's the right time to start or become an entrepreneur? So my take is both have merits and demerits. If you are, let's say, a fresh out of college or even a college dropout, and you have a business idea which you want to pursue, then the great thing is that there are no limiting beliefs you have. There are no, set things you're coming with, that this will work, this will not work, this is how it should be, because you are totally fresh. You're totally, innovative in your thinking, in your implementation. While a person who's worked in a corporate life for many years, they are very, very, some of them could become very regimental. You need to have processes, you need to have this, you need to have a marketing chief, you need to have a sales head. So they come with a lot of baggage, so to say. So in my experience, I have also seen the VC community, in fact, wants to invest in youngsters. Well, that's been the track record, that most of the people who either graduate out of college and then start a venture, or who are maybe dropouts and start a venture, their chances of getting funded are much higher. The reason being because VCs have tasted success with such people who are fresh, who are full of ideas, while people who have, maybe corporate experience behind them, many of them come with a lot of fixed mindset. So that is the key difference. So one is youth, freshness, passion, and the second is organized, and process oriented and stuff like that. So both have pros and cons. A experienced person may not make all the mistakes a youngster might make, but the fact is then their pace will be much slower, they will be more cautious, they will really want to vet it out, they may want an investor to come in before they actually take off. So there could be pros and cons in both the things. But like I said, the VC community loves youngsters, and in fact, most of the companies which are really having high valuations, their investors are people who are below 30, and especially in early 20s.
Again, an interesting answer, Arun. I'm loving this interaction so far, and I'm ready with my next question for you. I'm so pumped up listening to you. By the way, your answers are fabulous. Arun, my question is, if an idea is not backed by a VC, let's say I am in my 20s or maybe in my 30s, and I'm really passionate about my idea, and I have this excellent business idea in my mind. I discuss with a couple of my friends, they say go for it, and I'm willing to put in my money, whatever savings that I have. I have few friends who are willing to work with me on this. We approach a VC, rejected. We approach another VC, rejected. So मैं जानना चाहता हूं कि अगर ये फंडिंग का रिजेक्शन मिलता है, does that mean the idea is not good? छोड़ दें, क्या इरादा है, क्या लगता है आपको?
Again, most of the VCs and even the early investors, they want to see a proof of concept before they can actually fund an idea. There are very few ventures who actually get funded on a PowerPoint presentation. So again, those people would typically be from IITs, IIMs. They have that brand behind them, they have that credibility, and some of the VCs can just invest based on that brand and the kind of idea they bring in. But otherwise, 90% of the ideas would get funded if there's a proof of concept. So you will have to invest something on your own to first build a prototype, take it out to the market, get some results, get some reviews, get some revenues, and then only a VC or an early stage investor would like to fund your venture.
Okay, that's again good. I mean, and where do where do we find these VCs? I mean, अब आज की तारीख में तो इतना मुश्किल भी नहीं है, but still, when people are watching this, they would like to know, some of the young minds कि यार, I've started my business, I'm getting good results, and I want to approach few VCs to see if I can get funded. Where do they go and how?
See, one is, most of the VCs have certain sectors which they specialize in. So some will be keen on tech, some will be keen on internet scalable kind of ventures, some would be keen on health industry, someone on hospitality. So first is, easily once you do your research on Google, you will find which are the VCs which are investing in the sector that you are wanting to start your venture in. And then there are events, unfortunately, because of COVID, there have not been many physical events which have been happening in the last 1 year. But otherwise, there are so many forums where the VCs actually invite people to come and present their ideas. So you present your idea, if they like it, then you are taken to the next stage. Alternatively, you can find their email IDs and mail a brief snapshot of your idea, what you're looking at. And if they are impressed by your initial presentation or pitch, then they will call you and ask you to share more details. So I'm saying there are many forums. Plus, there is a association of VCs as well. You can approach that office, and there may be others who are having incubation centers. You can always have an incubation center where you can start your venture from. So there somebody is taking you as a mentee right from day one, and they give you certain funding to begin with, and if you do well, then they scale it up as well.
Makes sense. Makes complete sense. And Arun, when we talk about building a startup, entrepreneurship, how important is the team?
Team is definitely very key. There's no doubt about it. And like I said, if one person cannot wear all the hats, you have to have specialists. If somebody has been in marketing throughout and you expect them to build an IT system, complete CRM, etc., that person is not going to have a clue. Similarly, for that person to manage all the finances, all the accounting that is required, all the regulatory compliances, so that person may not be the best person. So you have to have specialists. Either you can outsource. If you're not very big, you are bootstrapped, you don't want to invest too many funds, then it is fine. You can always outsource. Nowadays everything is available on, in a sense, on hire. So if you want to build a tech system, you can always find a software company which can build that tech system for you. If you want someone to be your accountant, the one who has to file all the regulatory things, who has to apply for GSTN number, who has to file the tax returns, everything. So there will be so many professionals who will be happy to do it for you. So I'm saying in-house versus outsourced all depends on the scale you have, on the kind of funding you have, on the kind of things you're looking at for in the next 12 to 18 months. But definitely team plays a very important role, because a couple of brains together are more important than just one person's voice, what he or she feels is right.
Arun, what has been your biggest learning from the businesses or the startups that worked and the ones that did not work? What has been your biggest learnings from both of these different startups?
See, from the ones which have worked, the key is, like we said, the first is the idea. What product or service that you're wanting to launch, and what is the purpose behind it? What is the objective for which you have launched this idea? So that is the key. Second is the team. So again, most of my ventures have not been a solo venture. I have always worked with a couple of partners, like I said, who have brought in different kind of strengths, different kind of skill sets on the table. So that has been again very important in things which have succeeded. And last but not the least is in terms of what kind of market are you trying to address? What is the opportunity that you're trying to address? So if that you have some unique positioning, that will also give you great results. And something which did not work for me is again partnership. I went into one venture where I just came in as an investor, literally. I invested a lot of hard money that I had earned over a period of time into this venture. And initially, I just wanted to stay as, only for as a board advisor, just for board meetings, etc. But things didn't go well in this company. And I was literally forced to start, getting into operational things, which was not the mandate which I had come in and invested. And when things didn't go well at all, all hell broke loose and things went crazy. So again, because I went in with partners who I did not know about, I didn't have their background, I just knew one of the persons, and based on my trust and my faith in that person, I invested in this company, and I suffered huge losses. I suffered mentally, I suffered physically. So that was a very big learning experience for me, that do not invest with people you do not know much about, you do not have complete faith about, Many a times, even today, people look for partners there are certain websites where you can even find a partner for your business. So if you find a partner for your business from such websites without knowing about that person, chances are 8 out of 10 times you might go wrong. So that is why the trust, the faith, the credibility is so very important. So don't even start a venture if you don't have the right kind of people you can trust with. So that was a big learning for me, and I've paid a huge price to get that learning.
I agree with you. I couldn't agree more, because see, having a good partner can be your biggest asset. Right. And it could just be a nightmare if in case you are not with the right set of people. Right. Because you're trying to build something, and all of us, if we are not gelling well together, if there is differences of opinion, there's no way that this thing will work probably together. Somebody has to say goodbye. Right. And it's better that the sooner you realize it, the better it is. Right. Arun, बहुत सारे लोग इस वक्त जब इसको देख रहे होंगे या देखेंगे, they are in this pandemic times, or किसी, I mean, of course, on personal level, it is so difficult, but for businesses and for business people, it is such a tough phase or time to be in. I remember my time last year, we had to cut down on the salaries. Not an easy decision to take, right? Because a lot of people are running their families with that salary that they're getting. Right. Now, having been in that situation, I want to know from you how easy or how tough it is to be an entrepreneur. And is it really something that somebody should just get excited about because they see people making a lot of money? Or is it that the people have to be really cautious, and it has to be a very thought of decision? I want to know from you, what's your take on this, Arun?
Okay, so are we, Nitin, referring to only the pandemic kind of time frame, or even general?
Okay, so let's talk about both. I mean, in general, first of all, and then let's talk about pandemic times as well, in these times. Sure. And your outlook of the future. Right.
So in general, obviously, entrepreneurship is something which should be a thought out decision. It should not be on the spur. It should not, because there's so much riding at stake in an entrepreneurship venture. Like you rightly said, so many lives of people are going to be impacted. Your employees, your customers, your vendors, your investors. So if you take some decision without properly thinking about it, it can have a huge repercussion, which can impact so many people. We all know about housing.com, how it was at the peak at one time, and then it came crashing down. And there have been so many examples. Every year, if you take the list of the companies which are shutting down, the startups especially, some of them have had investments of millions of dollars from the VCs, and still they had to shut down shop. So that is why, do not ever take a decision to become an entrepreneur just on the spur of the moment, just because something you like, and next day you think, let me go ahead and become an entrepreneur. No. In everything. In fact, like Benjamin Franklin had said long time ago, if you have 100 hours to cut a tree, so spend at least 90 to 95 hours trying to prepare your axe before you cut down the tree. So don't do it on the spur of the moment. Don't take a rash decision just because something you like. On the other hand, like we talked about the pandemic situation. So right now, situation is very tough. Opportunities are limited. If you have an idea which can go online, like we currently see all the healthcare startups, all the education startups, all the software companies, all the app developing companies, there's CRM, etc. All the tech related ventures are doing very well right now, because that is something you can do online. You don't need a physical presence. Your customers can purchase whatever they want online. You don't have to physically pitch. Zoom meetings are, order of the day. You can avoid your travel costs. You can avoid your overheads of expensive offices. So this pandemic is a blessing for many people who want to start a venture in the area of technology, which you can market online. Anything. It could be anything that can be marketed online. But if you have something which is physical, for example, hospitality, something related to, hotel management, tourism, whatever. So these are tough times for that. Ventures are shutting down because, they can't afford to, if hotel is going to be empty, who will pay the, salary of the staff, who will pay the rentals, who will pay the electricity costs, etc. Similarly, the food delivery ventures, they are thriving right now. But if you have a physical restaurant, if there's not going to be anybody coming in with all the overheads, all the rentals, so it is going to be tough. So I'm saying, take a wise decision in this pandemic time. What is something that can go online? Because online can save you a lot of costs. It can help you grow faster. You can invest just in your marketing activities online, and you can reach millions and billions of people. So that is something which is very powerful and very attractive. So, but anything which is brick and mortar, try and avoid that.
Makes sense. And Arun, how important, I'm coming, probably this could just be one of your favorite questions. Why? Because this is what you are helping people with now. And the question is, Arun, how important, we talked about team, we talked about idea, we talked about capital, we talked about probably everything, having a mentor, but how important is having the right mindset to be a successful entrepreneur?
Mindset, to my belief, is so very important. I'm even surprised that we don't teach these things right in the school. The human mind is more powerful than any supercomputer on this earth. We have so much power, so much processing power. There are 50 trillion cells in our body. Each cell has the power to carry energy of 50 millivolts. So you are a powerhouse. And to utilize the capacity, even 10 to 20% capacity of your mind, is something amazing. And there's so many tools and techniques which can help you achieve what you want in your life. So like Brian Tracy says, life is like a combination lock. If you know what are the numbers and what is the sequence in which you have to place them, then you can unlock the key to any door of happiness, success, whatever you want in your life. So there's nothing more important than the mindset, because resilience, innovation, thought process, everything is dependent on how you harness the power of your mind.
Brilliant. And I couldn't agree more, because I too genuinely believe in the power of your mind and the mindset that you carry in whatever it is that you do. So right now, I think the biggest challenge that a lot of entrepreneurs are facing is their mindset. There's so much negativity around. Right. They just tend to go with it. They have to really understand that they have enormous power in them to probably create their own future. And if they do things right here first, in the outside world, it's going to be absolutely how they have imagined. Well, this is something that we can really explore probably in times to come, or in our second author talk, Arun. But as of now, I think the lessons that you gave us on entrepreneurship were incredible, filled with experience. And I really absolutely, I made my notes more than the questions. I probably have notes on my diary right now that I'm going to be implementing on my businesses. Arun, anything else that you want to mention? Any last word that you want to say to those people who are watching this with the entrepreneurship in their mind? Any last suggestion that you want to give people?
So just one thing I want to mention about the mindset, which you mentioned earlier. There's a formula called E plus R is equal to O. If you actually implement this formula in your life, it can change your life forever. E stands for event. There are events which happen in everyone's life. For example, this pandemic, that is happening in everyone's life. Nobody is, not impacted by this pandemic. R stands for your reaction. How you react to this event. Some people will get into depression. Some people, like you said, will have a negative mindset. They will start thinking, the world is coming to an end. My salary has been cut. What happens tomorrow? How will I pay this? How will I? So they get into this negative spiral. And O stands for outcome. So event plus your reaction depends, and that determines the outcome you will have. So like I said, many people have found this pandemic as a huge opportunity to make money online. They have started their businesses. Absolutely. Trainers, coaches, they are doing a fabulous business by going online, by getting many more clients. They would earlier invest in hotels. They will have all the so much preparation going on. They are doing online seminars, online conferences. So there's so much, opportunity which is also available. Like I said, so many ventures have crossed their $1 billion valuation during this pandemic time. So always stay positive, always stay hopeful, because that is what will determine the outcome of your life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one more note for me there. Okay, so one more note for me: E plus R is equal to O. Right. Well, I'm thrilled with this experience, Arun. Thank you so much for spending your time today and joining us and doing this introduction. And it was an absolute learning experience for me. And we connected after quite some time, but yes, I feel as if we met yesterday only. Arun, thank you so much once again for coming here today, joining us and sharing valuable insights.
Thank you so much, Nitin. I feel, blessed and grateful that you invited me, and I was able to share at least some of my experience and knowledge with the audience which is there today. And if there's any other question you have, please, I'll be happy to answer.
Arun, how can people get in touch with you? In case people want to know more about you, they want to take some of your services, in case they want to reach out to you, how can people reach out to you?
One option is obviously an email. There's my website, www.arunbhardwaj.com. It has my contact information. They can fill in a form, and I'll be happy to, get in touch with them. And another way is to follow me on Insta, Facebook, or even LinkedIn and YouTube as well. And if they write any comment, if they have any questions, I'll be happy to answer that. So both social media as well as my website would be the best ways to get in touch with me.
Arunbhardwaj.com is the website.
Yes, please.
Super. Thank you very much, Arun. Again, it was such a pleasure to connect with you. I'm going to see you again soon in another such author interaction. Probably this time we'll be talking more on the power of visualization and mindset.
Thank you so much, Nitin, and have a wonderful day and wonderful evening.